Welcome to the Hashtag Interview. I'm your host, Maggy Martinez, the show where voters hear directly from the candidates and leaders who wants to shape the future of our communities and our country. Today we welcome Maura Keller, a candidate for the United States Congress in Georgia's 3rd Congressional District. Maura Keller is a retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel, a recipient of the General Douglas MacArthur Leadership Award, and a professional dedicated to improving efficiency and leadership within our government and military institution. After decades of service to the United States, she is now stepping forward to continue that service in Congress. Today we will discuss leadership, national security, the economy, healthcare, and the issues that matter the most to the people of Georgia. So, let's dive in.
Radio presents Starbound Studios starring Maggy Martinez and the Hot Seat Interview. Y ahora con ustedes, Maggy Martinez en Caliente. And now, Maggy
Here she
Martinez.
is, Maura Keller. She's running for Congress District 3. That encompasses really from top to bottom, Hasselton County up to Columbus, right? Welcome, Maura, to the Hassett Interview.
And thank you, Maggie, for having me. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, definitely. This is about to get hot, Maura.
Okay.
This is
Let's
about
do
to
it.
get hot. Well, you know, the level of division in Washington, the atmospheres that we're living right now, the war in Iran and the other country, Israel, right? Those are the two that are fighting.
Well, Israel, that's still being discussed as to, how Israel and America are playing. Did they start it? Did we start it? So,
Yeah, we're still figuring that out, but especially when we don't have the permission of Congress. So when you get to Congress, what are you going to bring to the table first?
well, one of the things is we got to work together. That is one thing that has been missing, and it's just not for this administration. It's been missing for a long time across the board. And Washington seems to be more involved in politics than actually coming up with any type of results for the people that put you there.
That's right.
And being an Army veteran, we know when we see it's always mission first, and people always, and that's what I'm going to be bringing. Is that you see a problem, we're going to address it. And we're going to give what the American people are asking for. One of the things that we see is we have so much in common on both sides, but somehow we keep talking past each other. And I think
because that's the norm now. That's what President Trump teach this country.
that is a true statement. It's like you need to stand in line and do what he says, whether it's good for the people or not. And so
If you don't like it, I take you out.
Well, and that's it. And there's a caucus that I want to be part of. It's called the Problem Solvers Caucus. And it's bipartisan. So all the issues that everybody's talking about, we sit down and we reach across the aisle and we try to come up with the solutions.
You spent decades serving the United States Army and rose to the rank Lieutenant Colonel. Don't think, what inspired you for this transition from military service to running for Congress, and why did you choose this moment to enter the race?
So this is my second run. I ran in 2024. So we didn't win, but on a good note, because the area was gerrymandered. So they gave me more counties, and they took away some of the what we would call Democratic voters. But we moved the needle 3 more points Democratic, which is very, very good. So I felt I had to keep the momentum going. And the reason that got me into the race the first time in 2024 was I was a nuclear medicine technologist at the Atlanta VA. And when you see problems and issues, you try to solve them. And I could not get the people to solve some of these issues. When we're talking about equipment that's down for months, and I don't mean just a couple of months, I mean almost a year.
That's not good.
When you have equipment that hasn't been set up, when people constantly drop the ball, when it takes 10 months to get people hired. And I want to make sure our veterans have the best care. So when you address the issues with solutions and the leadership doesn't do anything about it, I decided I'm going to run for Congress and we'll fix this for my veterans.
This is your time.
This is it. Yeah.
The nation is calling for change and leadership. We need, especially a lieutenant colonel in this race, because you have the discipline. And a lot of people do understand that a candidate that has been in the military has an excellent discipline, transparency, and leadership. And my question is, how has your military leadership experience prepared you for this race?
So I did 26 years in the Army, and I started off as enlisted, and I earned my commission later on. And so they call us a Mustang. And that means we know what it's like to be the lowest person, and we earned our rank, throughout. My career talks about my leadership from when I went to officer candidate school, and I received the highest leadership grades. And so I was recognized for that. I was recognized with the General Douglas MacArthur Leadership Award from the MacArthur Foundation.
Excellent.
And that's given to select captains. And so all my awards have talked about that. But as a female in the military, we were not mentored. So while men are told these are the schools and the positions you hold, women, like I'd be looking around saying, well, I like what this person does, I like what that person does, and you try to embody that as to who you're going to be as a leader. And I had my Vietnam vets, and those are the ones that I am so appreciative to, is they took me under their wing, and they said, we're going to teach you to be a good officer. And they said, we're going to give you 2 bits of information. Number 1, never forget where you came from. You were the lowest person, and you knew what you had to do to get the job done. And the second thing is, always remember that the decisions you make or don't make are going to affect that soldier in the field. So that's how I took care of my soldiers. That's how I took care of my patients. And that's how I'll take care of the people of the district, because that's been my North Star. And I've never forgotten that bit of advice that they gave me.
That's excellent. We are talking with Maura Keller. She brings to the table a plethora of experience, which at the same time, she's going to bring this to Congress. So look into her website, know more about her, send those donations, because a candidate, no donations cannot go any further. So please support her. What economic policies will you support to help families? Families are struggling right now. You go to the market, it's not much you bring, you can put in the cart, right? And the gasoline prices, with what's happening over there on the other side of the world, really is killing us.
Well, it's interesting how the current administration has said, we're going to lower the costs on day one.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
If anything, they have gotten sky high. So when it comes to families and when it comes to businesses, we've got to lower the everyday costs, which includes healthcare, prescription drugs, the housing and energy. We've got to look at ways that we can strengthen our supply chains within America, where we can do more domestic manufacturing, where we can rely on ourselves. When you see with what's happening right now, we can't get what we need. This administration puts tariffs.
Oh, the tariffs are killing everyone.
And, yeah, you know what? And I've had so many small businesses reach out to me and tell me, and we are not passing that on to you because we'll lose our customers if we did that. They said, we're eating the cost, so we're lucky if we're breaking even. And we're just praying that things are going to get better. So I see how they're struggling. We need to give targeted tax relief to the working class and not the millionaires and the billionaires that we seem to be focusing on. We're focusing on the wrong people.
That's right. And now we have the farmers. They are having a lot of problem with the tariff. And then, all this negotiation that they have to sell their goods to China and other countries. This is really being affected.
And I'm glad you're bringing up the farmers, because they are the largest industry in the 3rd Congressional District, and they are the ones that have been left behind. You look at the risk that farmers take, the ranchers, the ones that are raising the chickens.
And the bailouts, they're not going to help. They could help temporarily, but that's it.
That's it. And I know that they visited Washington recently, and my concern is they're just going to get the nods. Yeah, we hear you, and they're still not going to do anything about it. So that's one of the groups that I am so focused on are the farmers.
Thank you, Maura, for that. Well, healthcare, the big beautiful bill, how all this is affecting us, how we are going to make ends meet, make a decision between eating or paying a co-payment. What is your take about this, and what plans you have to bring to the people of Georgia?
Well, again, healthcare is one of the biggest financial issues that our people in the district, or well, throughout Georgia, throughout the U.S., that are dealing with right now. I had, again, a lot of people reach out to me to say, because we got rid of the Affordable Care Act, we didn't, expand it, which I want to give you a little side note. We got rid of the Affordable Care Act, but there's a portion that maintains, and that's where all your Congress people are getting their health care from.
You see?
Yeah. So they kept that little piece for them.
They kept that little piece of that cake.
Yeah. So they're the ones that they get to pay the $500, the $600, for their family for health care. While you went from $500 or $600 now to $2,000. I did. I asked for people to send me what their policies were, and they said, "There's no way we can do it. We are now going to do without health care."
Because of the big, beautiful bill, I was dropped from United Healthcare. So now I only have Medicare. So that's, even the health insurance company are dropping everybody.
Well, think about also the healthcare insurance. I mean, it's a for-profit. They're going to do everything where they can cut you, but to make sure that they get their bonuses.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've got to look at the Medicare for all. And I know so many people are saying it's not going to work. You'll never get to see your provider. And here's some situations that I hear people telling me right now. One individual reached out to me and she needs a specialist for her daughter. They told her it's going to be 4 years before she can see that specialist. But they will see her early if she can come up with $96,000.
Oh, sure.
And so when you look at this, it's a pay for play. And you just get to keep on paying and paying. And they'll keep on denying.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
And so we got to get rid of that. Now, another thing is I've spoken to a lot of doctors, and they want this because they said, I can spend more time with my patients, where I don't have to be making all those phone calls through wherever to finally get the approval that my patient needs. And they said the less there's so much bureaucracy, so much paperwork that has to be done, and then they do it, and then it gets denied. And when you look at the reimbursement rates that the doctors get, it's getting less and less and less. Yes. And so one of the things I want to put on people's horizon, if they are, say, on Medicare, this administration is looking at diminishing what's going to be covered. And then they're going to diminish the rates that reimbursement rates that some doctors that I've talked to are saying, you know what, we may have to be similar to Medicaid. We only take so many Medicaid patients because the reimbursement rate is so low. They may have to look at saying we can only take so many Medicare patients.
That's
because
right.
the reimbursement
rate. It's going to happen.
And what's going to happen to those seniors?
What's going to happen?
That's it.
I don't know, but this is not getting better for the citizens of Georgia or the nation. Well, your military background gives you a strong perspective of national security. What do you see the biggest national security challenge facing the United States? And also that goes with Congress approving wars. We are sending our kids to war with no training. It's like, okay, today we're going. No, it doesn't work that way. You have been in the military many years. You know that's not the way to open fire.
So that's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question.
Okay, I've got a lot of thoughts on this one. Okay, so we have our current threats, which have always been out there, we're always planning for, and that's always with China and with Russia. And then we've got expanded threats, which is like cyber security and cyber threats. I mean, our grids, our healthcare, our financial institutions, they are being targeted every single day, every hour of every day, with adversaries trying to get access to it. So those are things that we need to pay attention. When you talk about what's happening in Iran, our Congress, I don't even know why we're paying them right now, because they have capitulated on every avenue to allow this administration to do whatever it is that they want to do. As long as they feel like they get cover every time the president decides to do an executive order, it gives them cover, because it's like, oh, that's what he did. So,
yeah, they're rubber stamps.
That's it. Nothing we can do.
Worse than rubber stamps.
And this is, again, Maura's opinion. When you don't see, to this day, how long we've been in here, and you still do not have a coherent message as to why we went in. First, it's Israel was going to go in, and then Trump says no. We forced their hand to go on in. They're saying there was an immediate threat of having a nuclear attack. Yet a little bit ago, you said that you had obliterated their whole nuclear program. So which one is it? You have the International Nuclear Energy saying there is no way that they were ready to attack you. And so there is no clear mission as to why we went in. And then what is the objective? And that objective keeps on changing and expanding. And they are not being transparent with the American people. Hegseth is, to me, a war hog. He doesn't believe in the Geneva Convention. He does not, to him, it's peace through strength. There's no diplomacy. And when you look at the diplomacy aspect, and you're saying they being Iran, was not coming to the table to really discuss that we could come to a solution. Yet look what's happening with Russia. How many times have they come to the table, walked away from the table, and
nothing happened.
And nothing happens. So the mixed messages is just crazy. And then the last thing is you look at, one of the things like Hegseth, he doesn't believe in the Geneva Convention.
He doesn't have any experience. He's really a person who has no intellectual or experience in the military.
Well, he belonged to, I believe it was a National Guard unit. He was over into the Mideast. But again, he has a different mindset. For example, look at what they removed, all the various levels from senior leaders we got rid of. Then you got rid of the JAG officers. And why did you get rid of the JAG, which are the military lawyers? Because they considered them to be road bumps to this current administration for anything that the commander-in-chief would want to do.
That's right.
So they're going in carte blanche. I feel like parts of international law have been broken. He does not believe in collateral damage, that we want to protect people. So if we kind of blow up something and there's civilians involved, that's just part of war. And that's just not who we are.
That's right. That's right. And then now we have our young guys coming home dead. Yesterday, there were more coming in. So,
yeah,
this is not good, especially when you have boys, because, those are the ones that they send first. So, what I've seen everywhere is that we are going to a war that makes no sense, that put us in jeopardy as a nation. You saw all those embassies that were, even in Qatar, that were attacked. So I don't know why the president just wants to work unilateral and he doesn't want to work with Congress. For him, that's nothing. For him, Congress is nothing. Supreme Court is nothing. So, but we're leaving with that. That's what this country choose to have as a president. and we'll see what happens. Georgia continues to grow rapidly, creating demands on infrastructure and development, especially here in Clayton County. I haven't seen much improvement in 24 years. What are your thoughts in terms of that, and how you're going to work in Congress to bring more funds to Georgia?
Yeah, that needs to be a priority. I do know some funds were brought by Brian Jack to Coweta, and it was to help because he said Coweta was expanding and they needed it for like the water systems, the water treatment. But we all know that that was not true because we have that big data center that's going up Project Sale. And so it's to accommodate that, not the people. So we need to look at all areas, to include my rural areas, because they have been the forgotten ones for way too long. For instance, the broadband. We still don't have broadband or fast speeds down in those local areas. So it affects schools, it affects small businesses, it affects if you're trying to get telehealth. So we need to make sure that they have as a minimum that. With the expansion of the counties, we got to look at the transportation side where it's improvement of the roads, improvement of the bridges, and also the congestion that growth brings.
Yep.
So we need to look at competitive funding where we can match state funding, or there can be more grants available for communities. That's some of the things we could do. We got to make sure that the water and the sewer infrastructure, we still have lead pipes out there. We need to maybe take them out, fix them. We got to upgrade our treatment plants.
So with the data centers, we don't know. They're going to use the water, but we don't know what's the outcome of that water yet.
Well, and again, I have been traveling the 15 counties, and so many of them now have data centers that are being built or they're being projected to be built. And with this administration, they got through an executive order. They took away a lot of the requirements. That makes it so much easier for them to build, right?
Sure.
And the thing is, they don't have to do like the environmental impact studies. So we don't know what's going to hurt the people where they live. We don't know what's going to do to the water system, the wells. You're looking at the air. You're looking at hearing. Things that there may be pitches that you're going to be hearing or you might not hear, but it's going to be affecting your
That's right. Right here behind the studio, they're building 4 data centers.
And I'm telling you, Hampton County, and you have one that's being built, and you do not have a water system agreement.
You see?
And so how are you building this structure and you don't have a water agreement?
Well, it's the commissioners, it's the mayors of this area that are permitting this, and the governor, Brian Kemp.
And when I talk to some of these builders, and one is in Coweta, and I asked the question, who's the occupants? Who are the tenants that are coming in? And he looked at me, and they don't have them yet. So it's almost like you build them and they will come. So you're building these massive structures and you still don't have people purchasing parts and pieces to now be in those data centers.
Not only that, the impact that it has in the community, the employees that are going to come in, the experts that are going to come in, the construction workers that are going to come in. So it's a lot to take.
But the thing is, those are only temporary positions. You are not building
jobs
you're not
in
building,
the long run.
No. And a lot of those people bring people from out of state. So they're not necessarily from Georgia when they do this. And then the people that actually work on those centers are so few and far between, and they actually rotate to other data centers.
Well, Maura, what reforms will you support to improve transparency in government, especially in this time?
Well, right now, this is the most opaque government that we have seen in the history of our government, because we can't peek in. We don't know what's there. So one of the things we need to do is ban members of Congress from making all this money.
Oh, they're making money for sure.
I mean, buying stocks, selling stocks, because they have inside information. That's it. We have got to strengthen the ethics piece. We need to know, there needs to be some financial transparency on all our congressional folks. We have got to get big money out of politics. Right now, they are owning our governments.
That's right.
It's not the local people that have given donations to the candidates. It's these big corporations and these big PACs and super PACs that have nothing to do with the 3rd Congressional District. And they're the ones that are developing the policies that are good for them and bad for the people of Georgia, of the 3rd Congressional District. We need stronger oversight into actual fraud, waste, and abuse.
Oh, that's so needed.
And we have to look at contracts that are being given. Are they contracts that are going to improve the lives of the American people? Are these contracts going to family and friends without going through any type of competitive bidding? And that's one of the things we see. Every day we wake up and we hear another Trump member or another congressional member whose family is going to get another contract. And it's these big billionaires that are getting it. It's not the small people that should be able to earn those type of contracts. We need more accountability. And that is what's lacking in Congress. So we need the American people to get the House back, because they have been locked out of the people's house for way too long.
It's incredible. Well, Maura, look at that camera and tell the people of Congressional District 3 why they should vote for you.
It's so easy for me to be able to say, well, I got leadership skills. I have, results driven. I can tell you all the things. But that's the thing, is I can promise you everything that I'm going to do. But how do you know I'm going to actually deliver those results? So what I want to do is just give you one situation in my military career. And that one piece is something that I have done my entire life, to include in the civilian sector. And this one was when I went to one of my first duty stations. I had about 8 years in as a lieutenant, and I had just arrived, and I saw a lot of fraud and abuse going on in that unit. And it was starting from the top down, and I'm watching around and nobody's saying or doing anything. So if I didn't say or do anything, I would be complicit and I would be just as guilty as they were. So I went to the Inspector General, gave him the whole list of what was going on. And he said to me, who do you think they're going to believe, a lieutenant or a colonel? And at that time, I was a single parent. I had 2 small children. I had worked really hard on my military career, and I just saw my career kind of go up in flames. So he said, are you ready to make your complaint? And I said, no, sir, I'm not. And I left. And I'll tell you, the internal fight that I had for an entire week, from what my parents taught me, from what the military strengthened, when we talk about responsibility, accountability, integrity, character, values, was fighting against my own self-preservation. If I look the other way, I can keep my military career. And after a week, I finally went back to a different IG and I made that complaint. And I will tell you, the retribution that followed me for a number of years, that anonymous phone calls, anonymous letters would show up to my new duty assignments. There was something that they reminded me of because they had associations with the local law enforcement. And they would always tell me, how these people used to plant things on people. And that was something I had to be I was fearful, but I am so glad I still did what I did. So no matter what they tried to do to me, I was not going to allow them to succeed. So that's just a small piece as to who I am. I will not sit idly by as things are going, wrong. I am not about self-preservation. I'm about doing the right thing. So I know I can look at you in the eyes and tell you, if I tell you I'm going to do something, my word is my bond. So
That's important. Thank you, Mara, for coming to the Hot Seat interview. It's a pleasure
you,
to have you
Maggie.
here.
I appreciate
Well,
it.
we spoke with Maura Keller. She's a candidate for Congressional District 3. She brings to the table a plethora of experience, but she brings something special: transparency and accountability. And not only that, she brings honor to the position. This is Maggie Martinez, the Hot Seat interview. Until next time.